A heavyweight.
Heavyweight boy. And Tank hit that nigga. He hit him so hard that he was on the top of the rope just like this.
It allowed Jake Paul's brother to be in there and be able to last with a smaller man, a smaller, older, greater fighter who's mostly was concentrating on defense more than just offense.
Gervonta "Tank" Davis is taking his training to an entirely new level, going to war in the gym against full-fledged heavyweights as he prepares for his massive showdown with Jake Paul. The usually compact power puncher has been fearlessly trading shots with men far larger than himself, and he's not backing down. According to reports from inside the camp, one sparring session became so intense that the heavyweight partner appeared visibly shaken after Tank detonated a thunderous left hand. For Davis, this isn't just training, it's psychological warfare. Every punch is a message that no matter how big his opponent is, he intends to dominate.
Oh, no, you're right.
But tell people what happened.
Man, I was about to spar. Before I was about to spar Tank, he was sparring this big boy.
A heavyweight.
Heavyweight boy. And Tank hit that nigga. He hit him so hard that he was on the top of the rope just like this.
Gervonta Davis continues to turn heads with footage showing him pushing, pressing, and punishing heavyweight sparring partners. Known for his explosive knockout power at lightweight and super lightweight, Tank is proving that size does not dictate impact. In the new clips, he's seen unleashing lightning-fast combinations, slipping counters, and firing back with ruthless precision, his timing razor-sharp, his rhythm flawless. The intensity in his movements suggests he's not just building strength, but refining endurance, conditioning his body to withstand and retaliate against larger, stronger opponents. Every exchange reflects the focus of a man determined to neutralize Jake Paul's size advantage through superior skill, speed, and ring intelligence.
Punch when he punch, yeah. Punch when he punch. Punch when he punch. Yep. They ain't stop sparring. We slowed down. Now we're gonna commence sparring again. That's what we do. We reload and come back. Yeah, you ain't gotta get close, Tank, because we know you're scared to get close. Get close, Tank. Keep rolling, Cal. All the way down the road. Come through.
Despite the massive difference in size between Tank and his sparring partners, Davis keeps pushing himself to battle men who outweigh him by dozens of pounds. His team emphasizes that these sessions aren't about overpowering bigger fighters, they're about mastering precision and control. Tank is fine-tuning his distance management, learning how to manipulate tempo, and maintaining his trademark explosiveness under pressure. His coaches revealed that he's studying the angles, movements, and timing needed to dismantle Jake Paul's unorthodox style. For Davis, Jake's greatest weapon isn't power, it's unpredictability. By sparring with heavyweights, he's conditioning both his body and his mindset to make sure that size never becomes intimidation. It's a disciplined, calculated strategy built on confidence and preparation.
Here's a clip of Gervonta "Tank" Davis releasing footage of him training and sparring with the heavyweight ahead of his showdown with YouTube sensation turned professional boxer Jake Paul that's set to take place November 14th in Atlanta, Georgia at the State Farm Arena. Tank Davis is 5'4" and he weighs in at 135. His last fight, he actually was 133 pounds. Jake Paul is 6'1" with a 76-inch arm reach, and he weighed in at 199 pounds his last fight. And fight before that, he weighed in at 224 pounds. Gervonta "Tank" Davis has a 67-inch arm reach. This is why this fight has to be ruled an exhibition and not a real professional boxing match, because no boxing commission would sanction it. Let me know what y'all think about this. As you see, Tank Davis is using and working on movement. Let me know. I'm gone. Peace.
Former UFC fighter and analyst Chael Sonnen believes Gervonta Davis now carries the weight of boxing's credibility on his shoulders. Sonnen argued that while Jake Paul has undeniably brought new attention to the sport, it's up to Tank to remind fans what real boxing looks like. "This isn't just a fight," Sonnen said, "it's a statement." In his view, Davis represents the purists, the technical mastery, timing, and years of discipline that define true ring excellence. Sonnen insists that Tank's mission isn't merely to win, but to expose the circus surrounding Jake's celebrity boxing era. "A knockout," he said, "wouldn't just be a victory, it would be a declaration that skill still triumphs over spectacle, and that authentic fighters still reign supreme in the ring."
Which is to let anybody know that's listening
that it doesn't make any difference, that boxing is a real sport. My skills versus your skills, of which I have an abundance of and of which you have none of. My life's commitment and dedication versus a second or third or fourth thought in the world of priority on your list. And I used to believe those things. Now, I go back far enough in MMA that I've had my eyes open a number of times. The fact that karate was so incredibly useless, or the fact that Jeet Kune Do was so incredibly useless, like these were not things that I would have bet on when I was in high school. As a wrestler at that time, I would not have assumed that I would fare well in a fight against somebody that knew Kung Fu. We had all been falsely led through Hollywood. Not through competition, not through sport, not through understanding of the game, but just through Hollywood. We were told that those guys were the most dangerous guys. So, we then eventually get up to Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather, which had a weight discrepancy, but it was very small. I mean, I watched him weigh in, I want to say it was like 8 pounds.
As fight week approaches, new reports confirm that Davis has continued sparring against heavyweight opponents, and these sessions are anything but light. They're full-force simulations designed to push Tank to his absolute limits. His trainers admit the plan is intentional. If he can handle heavyweights in the gym, then facing Jake Paul, no matter his size, will feel like a manageable task. The heavyweights force Tank to move smarter, react quicker, and generate power efficiently without relying on brute strength. Each grueling round sharpens his reflexes, enhances his defense, and builds unshakable confidence. It's an unconventional approach, but one that demonstrates just how seriously Davis is taking Jake Paul as a legitimate challenge, not a sideshow. Legendary boxing trainer Teddy Atlas also weighed in, praising Gervonta Davis as one of the most skilled and naturally powerful fighters in the game today. While some fans obsess over Jake Paul's size advantage, Atlas dismissed that narrative entirely, saying that once the bell rings, skill and experience always win. He pointed out that Tank has faced a variety of styles throughout his career: taller fighters, pressure brawlers, slick counterpunchers, and defensive technicians, and adapted to each with surgical precision. Jake Paul, on the other hand, has yet to share the ring with true world-class opponents. Atlas argued that those asking what if Jake lands one big shot miss the essence of boxing. Davis, he said, has been tested under real pressure, while Jake has merely performed under bright lights. The difference, according to Atlas, is night and day.
Do have one guy who, yeah, he's smaller, but he's a top fighter, he can punch. And he's fighting a guy who's not a top 12 fighter, who's bigger. What if he hits him on the chin? What if he hits him on the chin? It'll wind up selling. And that's what it'll wind up selling. The what if. What if Tank makes him do a cha-cha? He hits him on the chin, and Jake Paul, we're going to find out if he can dance. Whoa, 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 whoa. You know, do the cha-cha. That's what's going to sell it. And you can't argue that what if. You can't. I know I get to places that other people won't go and everything else. They just dismiss stuff because it's easier to do that. It's safer to do that. You don't have the bows and arrows coming at you from people that argue with you because you did that. But I don't care. I've had bows and arrows my whole life. I don't care. But that's true. That what if. What if this guy who is a real good puncher, who is one of the best fighters in the world right now, what if he hits him? What if he makes a miss and he counters him? Or he jumps up in the air? Bang! And he hits him. Sid Terrace. Sid Terrace was a great fighter. No, not the 1700s, but years ago. And Cus D'Amato told me he loved Sid Terrace. He said, Teddy, he used to jump up in the air and hit you with 3 jabs. I said, whoa, man, Sid Terrace. All right. Anyway, look, I can't finish without saying that it did invoke some memories and thoughts that we've been here before in a different way, where Jake Paul's brother fought Mayweather. That's not forget. And I'm not saying I like that either. I mean, first of all, Mayweather was past his prime. He was already retired. He was older, everything, but he's still the great Mayweather. And Mayweather was fighting a guy, what was it, 50-pound difference, 60-pound difference, whatever it was. And that size made a difference. It allowed Jake Paul's brother to be in there and be able to last with a smaller man, a smaller, older, greater fighter who's mostly was concentrating on defense more than just off.
Sports analyst Max Kellerman provided a more personal insight into Davis's mindset, suggesting that this fight may also represent a turning point in Tank's life. After years of grueling training camps, world title defenses, and relentless scrutiny, Davis reportedly wanted a bout that would deliver excitement and significant financial reward, one that would allow him to enjoy the fruits of his hard work. Kellerman revealed that Tank's motivation goes beyond glory. It's about securing long-term stability for his family and preserving his mental balance. In that sense, the Jake Paul fight is both a business decision and a strategic pause, a chance to entertain the masses, cash in, and still remind the world that when it's time to fight, Gervonta Davis remains one of the most dangerous men alive with gloves on.
You got a guy like Gervonta, who I personally think has been checked out for way longer than this last fight. I think he was checked out prior to the Roach fight. I thought this was all going to be in the works, where he was supposed to beat the 16-1 Roach and then go on to fight Jake Paul and then call it a career, because I think the people around him understood there wasn't much left in the tank for him in terms of his want or his desire to be here. He did an interview with Dan Canobio about 18 months ago where he was like, yeah, man, I just kind of want to raise my family. I don't know how much left of boxing for me. I don't want to see a therapist. I want to, I need to, but like I don't want to take away from my fighting. But I think it's time for me to do stuff like that. So I think the writing's been on the wall for Tank for a while. So that draw was kind of just like, I was on the way out anyway. I don't need to go back in there. And I said it at the end of that fight. I'm like, there's no way we see that rematch. He was so uncomfortable in that ring with Roach. He doesn't want to feel that again. He showed that night. So I'm not surprised that fight's not happening. I'm not even surprised he's fighting Jake Paul now. It's a cash.
During the press tour, analysts Chris Mannix and Sergio Mora noted a striking contrast between the two fighters' demeanors. Jake Paul, ever the showman, leaned heavily into his trademark bravado, loud, confident, and constantly stirring attention. Davis, however, stayed composed, quiet, and visibly unmoved. Mannix pointed out that Jake might know how to sell a fight, but Tank knows how to win one. Mora added that Davis's silence isn't a weakness, it's focus. His calmness under the spotlight is part of his discipline. He saves his energy for the ring, not the microphone. Both analysts agreed, when the talking ends and the lights come on, it will be Davis's technical mastery and raw power, not words, that dominate the night.
And even though Jake Paul tried to egg him on and try to goad Gervonta Davis on, he's dealing with somebody that is not a quick-witted, thinker. He's not a quick-witted speaker. Tank Davis is explosive in the ring. He's fast and powerful in the ring. He's charismatic inside the ring when he's punching. But when you put a microphone in front of him, he's not articulate. He doesn't know how to quickly respond to people. He stutters a lot. He does more stuttering than talking. So Gervonta Davis in front of a microphone is not going to sell. So Tank Davis shouldn't be put in a podium like that. He should have speakers for him. He should have someone talking for him. He should have a mouthpiece. Tank Davis is not going to sell this fight. And Jake Paul knows it. That's the reason he kept throwing jabs at him. He tried to get Tank out of his shell. Tank's not quick verbally enough. He's not quick-witted. He's not quick with the tongue. So in order for him to sell this fight, he's going to have an adversary that can spit something back. Like, for instance, Chavez Jr., he didn't have that quick-witted response, but he had the backing. He had the loyal following. And Chavez Jr., like many Mexicans, don't need to speak because they do all their fighting in the ring, and people know that. Tank Davis, I don't know, man. He didn't look good in his last fight. He's not fighting the killers in his division. People are getting off that Tank train. And we know that he's had his issues outside the ring. The love's not there anymore. Tank Davis is losing a lot of passion, a lot of followers, and people aren't buying this circus that Jake Paul's trying to sell. And I'm glad that people are getting off this train. The commission in Georgia got off this damn train. That's why they had to move this fight to Florida, where anything could happen.
Former world champion Tim Bradley revealed that Gervonta Davis didn't have many options before agreeing to the Jake Paul fight. According to Bradley, Tank initially wanted a rematch with Lamont Roach, but the negotiations fell apart due to timing and promotional complications. With limited big-name opportunities available, the Jake Paul bout became the most practical and lucrative choice. Bradley explained that most fans don't realize how much business politics influence boxing. Factors like network deals, management control, and broadcast priorities often dictate what fights get made. For Davis, this was both a financial opportunity and a platform to remind the world of his elite skill set. Bradley concluded that regardless of how the matchup came to be, Davis will use it to make a definitive statement in the ring.
No, I do. I'm not making no excuses for Tank at all, but this is just my perspective, man. Tank had no other choice but to do this fight, man. He had no other choice. You know, he was in training for that Lamont Roach fight, and, you know, then the coverage got pulled off, you know, and then this fight came about. You know, this is an inside thing, man. I swear, man, I'm telling y'all, this is an inside thing. You know, this is something that Al, PBC wanted Canelo to do, you know, because this is how they eat. This is how they gonna eat. This is how they gonna recoup, you know. As you know, PBC, they got no legs to stand on, man. You know, money going out, not enough money coming in. They got to spend their own bread, you know, for everything, you know, for everything. So, you know, they need money coming in. And their guy, Canelo, left. He with Turkey now. They wanted Canelo to do this fight. And now Tank is obligated to do this fight, man. Again, to save PBC. I promise y'all, man. I'm telling you. You know, Tank was already signed up to fight Roach rematch. He was already signed up, you know. You could just tell, man. I can tell, you know. Yesterday, listening to the press conference, I saw, like, I don't know what it was, but something with Jalen Love, and it's like a secret. I don't know what that is.
After the recent press conference, fans began debating whether Davis was truly invested in the fight. Observers noticed his distant gaze and lack of reaction to Jake Paul's provocations. Some interpreted his silence as disinterest, while others saw it as quiet confidence. The visible size gap between them fueled further controversy about fairness. Many expected Tank to respond with fire, but instead, he remained unshaken and calm, almost detached. Insiders close to Davis say this is all part of his preparation. Tank's silence isn't indifference, it's composure. He refuses to waste mental energy on theatrics that don't win fights. For him, the real conversation begins the moment the first punch lands.
Paul legitimately cooked Gervonta Davis in that press conference, and I really don't know how to feel about that. And to be honest with you, I still don't understand how boxing even allowed this to be made. Like, I don't. Like, dog, this is not an overstatement. Like, literally one of the core pillars holding up boxing is like this literal, like, fake superiority complex that they have over literally every other combat sport, despite literally being the least effective main combat sport there is. Brother, kickboxing, Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, brother, I put judo over I put boxing. In terms of practicality of combat, oh yeah, 100%. Brother, if Jake Paul makes it competitive against Gervonta Davis, I'm looking at this like, brother. Oh, well, weight difference, brother. Gervonta Davis has been training his entire life. I'm sorry, bro. It's bad enough that the fact that if this was under any other combat sport, this would literally be like one of the most one-sided matchups of all time. And it wouldn't be in favor of Davis. No, dog, if you did this under an MMA rule set, oh my gosh, bro, Paul cooks Gervonta. It's not close at all. Like round one finish level. But understand this, Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul is taking place in literally the only combat sport where Davis should win. I'm still shocked that they allowed it to be made. Because, like, there's no upside. If Jake Paul beats Gervonta Davis, now we're kind of looking like, wait a minute. What? Like, brother, don't forget. I still think it's a horrible look that Tyson Fury couldn't finish Francis Ngannou. That is so bad. Oh, Francis Ngannou's a great boxer. Francis Ngannou, no joke, is one of the worst boxers to ever be in the UFC. He just has absurd power. No, look at the technique of Francis Ngannou. It's not that good. It's carried by power. Like, going into this, like, I'm hyped, but it's also, I'm looking at this like, bro, Gervonta has to finish.
While Jake Paul has long been accused of exploiting boxing's traditions, some critics have now turned their attention toward Davis himself. They argue that by agreeing to this crossover fight, Tank risks validating the very influencer boxing trend he once criticized. Hardcore fans feel disappointed, believing this matchup leans more toward entertainment than legacy. Yet, others defend him, pointing out that boxing has always thrived on spectacle, from Ali's showmanship to Tyson's intimidation. For Davis, the goal is balance, to show that even in this new era of crossover events, authenticity still matters. If he demolishes Jake Paul, he won't just win a fight, he'll reclaim the narrative, proving that real fighters can still own the spotlight and define what boxing truly stands for.
Paul is not the problem with boxing, Tank Davis is. Jake Paul's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. He's a Disney Channel kid, YouTube star turned boxer. Of course, he's gonna make these stupid spectacle matchups. He doesn't care about his career, his legacy, or the sport. Meanwhile, we have Tank Davis, the heir apparent to Floyd Mayweather and Adrian Broner, who has real talent. And if he was actually consistent in the ring and was willing to get in with some of the best fighters in the world, he could be top 3 pound for pound best fighters in the sport. But instead, Tank just wants to hold up his division for 5 years and make a mockery of the sport, especially with this fight.
And that wraps up today's coverage. The stakes are higher than ever for Gervonta Davis, for Jake Paul, and for boxing itself. Stay tuned, because when these two finally meet, it won't just be a fight, it'll be a battle between spectacle and skill, hype and heritage, legacy and fame.